Breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, today's top story comes from Iraq, where the movement of the US dollar against the Iraqi dinar has once again become the focus of public attention. Markets in Baghdad and Erbil are telling two different stories. In Baghdad, the dollar has held its ground, showing little change from the previous week. But in Erbil, capital of the Kurdistan region, the dollar has slipped, creating fresh debate among traders, businesses, and ordinary citizens. The divide is striking. In Baghdad, exchange offices report steady demand. Customers are coming in, asking questions, making small purchases, but the mood is calm. Traders say there is no sign of panic, no sudden rush to hoard dollars. The capital's market seems to be holding firm, and for once, citizens are feeling a sense of relief that the rate is not spiraling out of control. In Erbil, the story is different. This morning, money exchangers wrote down a lower rate on their boards. At first, customers were surprised. Some smiled, thinking that goods might become cheaper if the dollar continues to weaken. But others worried. Importers who had bought dollars yesterday at a higher price feared losses. Shopkeepers who had stocked up at the old rate wondered how they would adjust their prices now. What looked like good news for households could feel like bad news for traders. This contrast has sparked conversation across Iraq. Why is Baghdad calm while Erbil shifts? Analysts say there are several reasons. Local demand patterns, the flow of goods across borders, and even regional politics can affect the value of the dollar differently in each city. In Baghdad, the central bank has been active in keeping the market stable, releasing dollars to authorized dealers and putting pressure on black market trading. In Erbil, however, the situation is more complex. Trade with neighboring countries, particularly Turkey and Iran, influences demand for dollars. When demand slows, the dollar can lose ground quickly, creating short-term drops like the one we saw today. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. For ordinary citizens, these market movements are not abstract statistics. They are real, they are personal, and they are felt in the price of bread, fuel, and medicine. In Baghdad, people welcome the stability but remain cautious. A father in the Qarada district told reporters, "Yes, the dollar is stable today, but tomorrow we don't know. Every day we wait for the news before we buy groceries." In Erbil, the reactions are more mixed. A shopkeeper in the bazaar said, "If the dollar falls, maybe my costs will drop, but I already paid at the higher rate. How can I survive if prices go down but my stock was expensive?" This is the heart of the crisis. Citizens live on edge, unable to plan ahead. One stable week brings hope, but a sudden drop or rise erases that hope instantly. Salaries remain fixed, yet expenses shift with every change in the exchange rate. Mothers bargain harder in markets. Taxi drivers raise fares when fuel prices jump. University students worry about tuition fees linked to foreign currency. Every small movement in the dollar ripples through society. The situation is also shaping political debate. In Parliament, members are pressuring the government to explain why there are regional differences. If the central bank can hold the line in Baghdad, why not in Erbil? Officials respond that regional trade flows are harder to control, that local dynamics must be taken into account. But citizens are not interested in excuses. They want fairness, transparency, and stability across the country. Experts warn that today's split is a reminder of Iraq's fragile economic system. A stable currency in Baghdad does not automatically mean stability nationwide. Differences in local markets, trade routes, and financial controls create uneven outcomes. Without a unified approach, these divides will continue, leaving citizens uncertain and frustrated. Still, there is a small glimmer of hope. Some economists argue that the dip in Erbil could help bring down prices temporarily, easing pressure on families. If shopkeepers and wholesalers adjust quickly, consumers might see cheaper goods in the coming weeks. But others warn that such dips are often short-lived. The dollar could regain its strength tomorrow, erasing any benefits before they reach ordinary households. So, ladies and gentlemen, the story tonight is one of contrast. Baghdad holds steady, Erbil shifts. Citizens are caught in the middle, watching every number, every board, every announcement with nervous eyes. For them, the question is simple. Will stability last? Or is this just another pause before the next storm? Breaking news. The divide between Baghdad and Erbil highlights not only the challenges of managing an economy, but also the daily struggles of people who depend on predictability. Until stability is achieved across the board, the uncertainty will continue to weigh heavily on Iraq's future. Breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, the divide between Baghdad and Erbil is not just about numbers on currency boards. It is about how people live and how they cope with uncertainty. In Baghdad, where the dollar has held firm, citizens express cautious relief. Shopkeepers there say stability, even for a short period, helps them breathe easier. "At least today, I can set my prices without fear," said one grocer in the Sharjah market. But his words were followed by a sigh. "Tomorrow may be different. We never know when things will change." In Erbil, where the dollar has slipped, reactions are more complicated. Families welcome the possibility of cheaper prices, but traders are worried. A money exchanger in the bustling bazaar explained, "Customers are confused. Yesterday they paid one rate. Today it's lower. Some are happy, some are angry, but everyone is nervous. If it drops again tomorrow, who knows what will happen?" For businesses, these shifts are exhausting. Importers in Erbil complain that their costs are unpredictable. A clothing dealer who buys goods from Turkey described his struggle. "I purchased dollars at a higher rate to pay my supplier. Now the rate has fallen, and my stock is suddenly overpriced compared to new shipments. If I lower my prices, I lose money. If I keep them high, I lose customers. Either way, I suffer." His words capture the trap that many traders find themselves in. Meanwhile, families in Erbil are watching closely. Mothers say they compare prices every day, moving from one shop to another in search of small savings. One mother told reporters, "If the dollar keeps dropping, maybe food prices will come down. But we've seen this before, it never lasts. Prices rise quickly, but they never fall at the same speed." This sentiment echoes across households, where citizens feel that they bear the full weight of instability, while profits and advantages seem to stay with larger businesses or money dealers. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. This contrast also reflects the bigger economic reality in Iraq. Baghdad, with stronger oversight from the central bank, is insulated from sudden shifts. The government's hand is firmer, the controls tighter. In Erbil, however, regional dynamics play a major role. Cross-border trade with Turkey and Iran means demand for dollars fluctuates daily. When traders slow their purchases, the dollar falls. When demand rises again, the dollar climbs. Citizens are left caught in this cycle, watching prices bounce like a ball they cannot control. The psychological impact is immense. In Baghdad, people walk into exchange offices and feel reassured by the steady numbers. In Erbil, every trip to the bazaar brings anxiety. Will the rate be higher? Will it be lower? Can they afford the goods they plan to buy? The difference between the two cities is not just financial, it is emotional. One feels slightly calmer, the other restless. Yet both live under the shadow of uncertainty, knowing that today's calm can vanish tomorrow. Business owners in both cities agree on one thing: planning for the future has become almost impossible. A cafe owner in Baghdad said, "When the dollar is stable, I can think about buying new equipment, maybe expanding. But when it changes all the time, I just try to survive." In Erbil, a furniture seller explained, "I used to import large shipments, confident I could sell them. Now I import less because I don't know what the rate will be when I pay my supplier. It has made me afraid to take risks." Breaking news. Economists warn that this lack of confidence could hurt Iraq's economy in the long term. When businesses hesitate to expand, jobs are lost. When jobs are lost, families struggle even more. The chain reaction does not stop with traders. It spreads across society. Every unstable rate weakens trust in the market, and without trust, growth becomes difficult. Yet citizens continue to demand solutions. In Baghdad, people say the central bank's policies are welcome but must be stronger. In Erbil, citizens ask for more coordination between the regional government and Baghdad's financial authorities. They want a unified approach that will bring stability to both regions, not just one. For now, though, they wait, watching the rates like a daily weather report that dictates their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, the story of today's exchange rates is not finished. Baghdad holds steady. Erbil shifts. But across both cities, the question remains. How long can this continue before citizens lose patience entirely? The people are waiting for answers, waiting for relief, waiting for leaders to act decisively. Breaking news. This is not just about currency. It is about confidence, survival, and the hope of a stable tomorrow.